Welcome to the Planeswalker Project.
What's up, everybody? So with the upcoming Commander 2017 decks, we got a ton of new Commander goodness to begin brewing with, and here at the Planeswalker Project, we've already begun to lose sleep while building some fantastic new decks using the cards from this set. And with that in mind, it's time to dive into the first of what will surely be a horde of new builds using Mufasa himself, Arahbo, the roar of the world. This is going to be a deck based on the cat tribal theme, taking the strategy included in the pre-con build, which focuses on cats and equipment, and running wild with that. So let's check it out. So to start, we are running quite a few felines in this deck. The cats are our best capital to work with Arahbo's ability, and the only ones to actually benefit from it. Balan is perhaps my favorite to drop because of his ability to snatch up all the equipments on the field for just 2 mana at instant speed and give himself double strike if he hits 2 or more. I'm a little ticked that he didn't get a reprint in the set, but Brimaz also is really amazing in this deck. He shows up, as does Kemba, both excellent sources of cat tokens. Hungry Lynx is a must, giving the sheer potency of the buffs given by those little rat tokens. I love Jedit, so I feel he is a must include. Even though he does cost a lot of mana, we're in green, we can ramp into him. Leonin Albinos is great to help protect our equipments once they begin hitting the field. A super powerful inclusion from Aura Devastation, Pride Sovereign can be a massive tank to equip when you have a field full of cats. In the same vein, Prowling Serpapard gives protection from our board from counter shenanigans. Raksha is a super potent lord as well, giving both a moderate sized buff and double strike to all of our cats. Regal Caracal gives lifelink and spawns 2 more cat tokens, and we do run a little itty bitty amount of life gain stuff, so something like Feldar Sovereign can be an easy win con on the side, while also contributing to that cat tribal. We also have a respectable armory of equipments that we're wanting to use to buff up our kitties. We are free to run some of the best equipments in the game, but I recommend a few notable picks. Both Behemoth Sledge and Loxodon Warhammer, they both do similar things, giving lifelink and trample along with a pretty good boost. Hero's Blade is cool in that your legendary creatures pop in and can pick it up for free. Konda's Banner might be restricted to legendary creatures only, but it can give your creatures quite the buff. Stoneforge Masterworks is great for tribal decks, and it's cheap to cast and to equip. Of the protection swords, I prefer Sword of Feast and Famine and Sword of War and Peace, only because I feel they bring the most value of all of them. Lastly, a great equipment to look at is the Masterwork of Ingenuity, which can become a copy of any equipment on the battlefield. Now, we do run a number of tutors in our deck for various cards that we're going to want to snag and not wait till drawing them. Green Sun Zenith can go for any of our green creatures and shuffles back to be a recurring tutor later on. Open the Armory and Steel Shaper's Gift can go for any of our equipments. Eladamri's Call is by far one of the most underrated tutors, likely due to its age making it fall under the radar for a lot of newer players. And of course, Enlightened Tutor can help us snag either our enchantments or our equipments. Speaking of enchantments, we run a few ones that are actually really powerful. Sigarda's Aid is by far the best equipment for equipment-based decks, basically giving our equipment spells flash and letting them equip for free as soon as they hit the field. Sylvan Library is excellent card draw, and I consider this a staple card for any deck running green that might be hurting for some card advantage. True Conviction gives our field double strike and lifelink, making for some super potent life gain and combat prowess. Mirari's Wake, which is in the pre-con, yay, gives us a buff, and it lets our mans tap for an extra mana. Aura Shards is a nice include to handle opposing enchantments and artifacts. Exploration, which is my preference over Burgeoning in this build, gives us that ensured extra land drop, which can easily put us way ahead of opponents in getting out lands. And lastly, Darksteel Mutation is a great removal spell, in a way, but it's particularly effective against commanders, making them useless bugs. Our land base is something I've been working on optimizing, so when you look at our tapped out list, which you can find in the video description, know that this is my personal preference in building it, utilizing some of the best lands that this deck can use. You of course can go crazy and add in more fetches or whatever you choose, but this is just my personal selection. You're going to want to add in Temple Garden, the Selesnya Shockland, and Windswept Heath, which is the fetch land for our colors. You can always add in other fetches if you want, but you will want to make sure that you can get both of your colors as quickly as you can. Brushland, City of Brass, Fortified Village, Mana Confluence, Sungrass Prairie, Sunpetal Grove. These are all really good inclusions for getting out both of our land colors. We have a few lands that have basic land types like our Temple Garden, Scattered Groves, Savannah, and Canopy Vista, which are all fetchable by the Windswept Heath and our other fetch lands. We also run some utility lands like Gavany Township, which can give a nice buff to our board. Mosswort Bridge, which is easily accessible, can help us cheat cards into play. Rogue's Passage helps get damage through without fail, and Vidugazi, which can spawn out tokens. Of course, you could substitute some of the more expensive cards for other cards, like more budget fetches or utility lands, or even basic lands. The goal of this deck is very simple. You get out your cats, you suit them up with their toys, and you swing in for lots of damage. It's a very straightforward and aggressive deck meant to beat down opponents. We can use cards like Mother of Runes and several equipments to give evasion and protection to our creatures and make sure your opponents can't do anything to prevent that damage. You could choose to go wide with all of your creatures swinging in, giving equipments to everyone on the field, preferably with something like Mirri Weatherlight Duelist to protect us on the opposing turns. Or we can go with a more of a Voltron approach and suit up just one creature with a ton of equipments to make them unstoppable. How you go about your games is up to you, and you can be very flexible with this game plan as the game evolves. It's one of the things I really love about this deck, in that it doesn't really specify whether you want to go with Voltron or going wide. So that's about the gist of our Arahbo deck. I hope you enjoyed the first build of what's going to be many of this Commander 2017 pre-con decks, using Arahbo as our commander. Keep in mind that this is built to be a bit more of a tuned version of the pre-con deck, building off the strategy that has in mind right out of the box. What do you plan on building with the Feline Ferocity deck? If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like and a thumbs up. Share this with your Commander playgroup and your friends. If you want to support the channel, consider checking out our Patreon. We have some really awesome goals for this channel, including some amazing giveaways. I want to thank our amazing patrons for their helping support to make the Planeswalker Project one of the best Commander channels on YouTube. And with that, I'll see you all at the beginning of the next upkeep.